Hey everybody, my name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I am a licensed professional counselor and a certified life purpose and relationship coach for Black women who are ready to heal from our past so we can build the future that we deserve. And you're tuned in to episode 33 of Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing and manifestation. As usual, I am so thankful that you've decided to join me today, and I got my wine. I'm ready to get this conversation started. Let's go. This has been a very exciting, introspective, and tiring week for me. As I'm sure you all are aware, I did not post a new episode last week. My 9 to 5 job is working at a school, and so the kids were on spring break last week, so I did get some time off. My intention was to use that time to really just relax and kind of recenter myself, and then also to kind of get caught up and ahead on some of the stuff that I have to do for the show and some stuff for my business. But shit never works out that way for me. So I started working on a DIY project. I am a DIYer. I love refurbishing things and like taking stuff that's old and make it look new again. And so anyway, I did get started on a DIY project that I have really been waiting to do since forever. But the wind was so crazy. Like, I know a lot of people is dealing with the cold weather, but it's nice and sunny here. And normally a breezy day is a good thing unless you're trying to spray paint. Okay. Then a breezy day is the devil. And so the wind was really crazy, and it took way longer than it was supposed to in order for me to be able to finish the piece. And so I just really got tired out, and I just had to kind of take a break from adulting for a couple days. So I apologize for that, but I am back, and I actually did get some things accomplished over the last week or so, including really doing some healing work on myself. I started doing a detox, the 10 days green smoothie detox with JJ Smith, and it's going okay. I did struggle those first couple days, but I feel like I'm kind of getting back on track. And so overall, I'd say, it was a win. All right. So I have decided that I'm going to take a little bit of time off, like a little bit of an extended break at the beginning part of the summer. Not right now, but at the beginning part of the summer. But I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that's going to look like. So I'll make sure that obviously I'm going to keep y'all notified of what happens during that time. Okay. All right, so today's topic is alone, not lonely. So it's really easy to get the two confused, but the reality is that they are two very different concepts. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. So today we're really going to talk about what that difference is, what it looks like, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to be alone and how to get past lonely. All right. Then later I have two high fives today, one for Cardi B and one for Sybrina Fulton, who is the mother of Trayvon Martin. And I'm going to do some shout outs, including a very special shout out to a very special person. You know who you are, boo, my little chocolate thunder. And no, it's not who you think it is. And I have some updates on the Empower Your Vision Masterclass that I'm going to share with y'all today, that I'm actually really super duper excited about. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you're listening right now. I really love it when y'all let me know that you're listening to the show, and really when you add to the conversation on social media. So make sure that you share your stories, or share your timelines. Share that you're listening in your stories and in your timelines. Tag me, or tag the show so that I can see it, and I'll definitely repost it, give you a special shout out on next week's show. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. It's important for us to understand the difference between being alone and lonely. Alone is a state of being. Lonely is an emotional state. Those are two very different things, connected but different. It's very easy to get the two confused, and oftentimes the terms are used interchangeably, but they are two separate experiences and need to be processed and handled differently as well. You can be alone without feeling lonely, and you can be in a room full of people feeling like you're the only one there. So, today I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between alone and lonely and give a few tips on how to figure it all out for yourself. All right. Let's start with lonely. Webster defines lonely as being without company, cut off from others, not frequented by humans, which that's so serious, sad from being alone, and or producing a feeling of bleakness or desolation. As I said before, lonely is an emotional state. So obviously, it has a negative connotation associated with it, and actually, it very rarely exists exclusively on its own. Lonely is typically accompanied by or tends to follow other negative feelings like hurt, embarrassment, guilt, grief, and really just overall sadness and even depression in some cases. Lonely can be unbearable at times. Because of this, many of us have developed an unhealthy fear of loneliness, and as a result, we fill our lives with lots of empty relationships and experiences, all because we just don't want to feel alone. We don't want to be alone or feel alone, okay? I have worked with people who are so terrified of being alone that they are willing to sacrifice their happiness and allow themselves to be treated poorly just so that they can remain in draining and really growth stunting relationships for years and years and years. But alone is not an emotion. Lonely is. And as with every emotion, there is no way to prevent that feeling from coming up. However, how you deal with it is totally within your control. All right. The first thing you must do is really acknowledge and understand that you are indeed lonely. You have to also identify the other emotions that are attached to it. So these emotions may be different for every experience depending on the circumstances. This is going to require for you to have a certain level of awareness, and that might be more difficult for some of us than it is for others. It also is going to require that you have a certain level of vulnerability, which is even more scary and more necessary. Okay. Once you are aware of your loneliness, dissect it, break it down into the smallest pieces. Try to really pinpoint its origins, like where did it come from, and really understand the severity of it in your life. And then finally, you have to take action on it. Okay? You got to make a plan to overcome that emotion, either by talking it out with a close friend or family member, or even a professional if you don't feel like you have anybody in your life personally that can really show up for you in that way. Then there's no shame in talking to a professional. Okay? Or you can address it or take action by creating a plan to reduce the intensity and or the frequency of that loneliness. And you do that by doing things that make you happy. Okay? Doing things that make you happy. This takes us really into the next piece of the puzzle, because this piece in particular is going to require you to be comfortable with being alone. All right. So, alone can be therapeutic in a lot of ways. Spending time with yourself and by yourself really allows you to develop a much deeper relationship with yourself. But it also helps you to understand how you work more intimately. It can also have a positive impact on the quality of the external connections that you make with people like your family, your friends, your coworkers, romantic partners, potential romantic partners. All right. A lot of us are so afraid of being lonely that we avoid being alone like the plague, right? And that's really why I wanted to talk about this today. You have to start seeing these two things as separate. One does not inform the other, or at least it not the way that you think it does. Alone is a physical state, period. It does not speak specifically to the connections that we share with others, but it can enhance those connections indirectly. You know, I didn't get my own room until I was in about 10th or 11th grade. I shared my room with my sister, who is really just 1 year older than me, but she always acted like we were light years apart from each other. At least, like, that was my perspective. And so clearly, she never really wanted to take me anywhere. But what big sister ever wants to take the little sister somewhere? You know what I'm saying? So I get that to a certain extent. But my brother is 9 years older than me. And so, you know, I always say, I don't even think he even saw me as a real person until I like graduated from college. Now, I love my brother and my sister with everything in me. And I know that if I ever needed anything, both of them, they would drop whatever is going on and they would show up and they would do whatever it is I need them to do. Like, my family is just close like that. So please don't take this like I have a horrible, family or anything like that, right? I love my family. But that does not change the fact that I spent a lot of time growing up feeling lonely. And then on top of that, I really struggled with my hygiene growing up. Probably because, really because of how I felt about myself, and really how like I felt about myself and my place in the world, which I honestly, I did not totally understand like that until, I really started like my journey of self-discovery. Like, I didn't really know at the time that that's what my struggle was, like, or that I was necessarily even struggling. Okay. But this is in retrospect, obviously looking back, I really see that. And so anyway, that really caused me to be somewhat socially isolated, because who wants to be around the smelly girl? You know what I'm saying? And I say somewhat socially isolated because I did have friends. I have friends that I grew up with my whole life, but I never really felt like a part of the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And I had some friends that I felt like they were my friend uh behind closed doors, kind of like they were my friend when it was just me and them, but when were in front of other people, then they weren't my friend anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I never really could like wrap my mind around that, and that really that really, I think, laid a foundation for me that I eventually had to start working on myself and healing myself in order to really understand it. So there's a lot more that really goes into that, but and I'm sure that at some point, y'all know I tell y'all everything, so I'm sure at some point I will share that with y'all one day. But the bottom line here is that for me, the negative association between being alone and feeling lonely started at a very early age. And I think it's that way for most of us, whether we realize it or not. Okay. And it's so weird because people who knew me back then, they really have no idea that I felt that way, because I was very good at pretending to be okay so that I wouldn't have to be alone, right? Because nobody wants to be around Debbie Downer, right? So I got really good at pretending that I was okay so that I wouldn't have to be alone, and by default, in my mind anyway, lonely. So it wasn't until my sophomore year of college, when I got my first private dorm room, that I really came to appreciate being alone and being in my own space, right? But that was really just the first layer. A much deeper understanding of the difference between alone and lonely didn't really come from me until my journey of self discovery began about 6 years ago. Now I'm in a place where I can embrace my alone time. Actually, I look forward to my alone time. I get excited about my alone time. I use my alone time to explore parts of myself that I've, maybe been too afraid or too ashamed to explore before. I learned so much about myself during that time. I really reveled in my own idiosyncrasies, like the little quirks that make me awkward and freaking awesome. Right? I gained a lot of clarity in my alone time on my vision, and I got a lot more focused on figuring out how to manifest that vision. I am more in tune with my emotions today, and I have never felt as authentically me as I do today. And all of this came after I separated being alone from being or feeling lonely. All right. So don't be afraid of being alone. And don't be afraid to admit that you're lonely. But make sure that you understand the difference between the two and that you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to grow from either one. All right. So this week's homework is to spend at least 1 hour with yourself this week outside of work, because that shit don't count. Okay. I know some of us spend a ridiculous amount of time by ourselves at work, but work alone time doesn't count. All right. You can do either like 1 full hour straight, or you can break it into 15 minutes or 30 minute intervals and kind of gradually build up to the full hour, especially if you're one of those people who genuinely feel uncomfortable in your own presence, because that's a real thing. Because after avoiding it for so long, you don't know what to expect. Like it's an uncomfortable experience. It can be painfully uncomfortable for some of us, because think about it like this. No, who wants to be trapped in a room with a stranger? And if you're not spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself, and really understanding who you are and how you work, then you are a stranger. You are a stranger to yourself. You don't understand what's really happening inside of you. You don't understand what really makes you tick, right? So it's the same as sitting in a locked room with a complete stranger. So take some time and build up to it if that's what you need to do. All right? Use this time to really indulge in yourself. Like, have a conversation with yourself. Ask yourself the same questions that you would ask a stranger if you're trying to get to know that person. And make sure that you answer those questions too. Don't make no sense to ask a question if you're not going to answer it. That does not make you crazy. That makes you enlightened. All right? Or you can just get quiet and just really sit with that silence. All right? You would be surprised at how much you can learn about yourself in the silence. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Or you can take yourself on a date. Go to your favorite restaurant. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to sit in the corner if you really don't want anybody to see you. But really, sitting at the bar, and this has just been my experience, what I found is that sitting at the bar is actually pretty cool, because the bar is made for people who are there by themselves. So I feel like, I don't know, when I was going through my journey, it was easier for me to get used to it or comfortable with it by sitting at the bar when I go to a restaurant, because you can eat, you can drink, you can do everything at the bar, and they have other people there that are also there by themselves, right? And so, and they have other things to like keep you entertained, so you can watch TV, you could talk to the bartender, like things like that. Like it's not as awkward, right? Because if you're sitting at the bar, then I think people just kind of assume that you're there by yourself, and they don't make a thing of it. Like it's not a big deal. Okay. So, go sit at the bar, or like I said, you can sit in the corner if you really don't want anybody to see you. The point is that you're doing it, right? Go to the poetry spot that you really been wanting to try out, or try out that new museum that nobody ever wanted to go to with you, so you just never went, right? Whatever you choose to do with that time, make it count. Make it count. Pay attention to what you're feeling in that moment. Document it either by making a mental note of it, or might be a little bit better to kind of physically document it by either journaling it or recording a voice note for yourself. Like, what was that experience like for you? Be present. Try your best to enjoy the moment and engage in the moment. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. It is okay if you struggle with it at first. Do it anyway. And then do it again. And then do it a damn again. Right? Until you reach a place where you are totally comfortable in your own presence, or with your own presence, and having other people around becomes a perk and not a requirement. All right. So that's your homework for this week. Spend 1 hour with and by yourself, and see how that feels. Okay. And then take a picture of something, use the hashtag UTP homework, and let me know how it goes. Tag me in your story, on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're doing stories at. Tag me in your feed, and let me know how it's going, how that experience is for you. Like I said, you would be surprised at what you learn about yourself, and the level of what you don't even know. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know about myself until I started learning it. So okay, that's it. Good luck to you on that. And that's it for the main topic. Coming up next is High Five. Okay, so clearly Cardi B is having the best year ever. Okay, her music career has really just kind of blown up over the last 12 months, and she has been riding this wave all the way to the bank. So, although I was definitely a slow convert over to Cardi Land, I definitely appreciate how she's doing her thing. So she's living her dreams and she's manifesting her vision, and she's doing it all on her own terms. And I have a deep respect for anybody who's able to accomplish that. Her relationship situation has been a little rocky these last few months or so, to say the least, but it's not my job to judge. Like, I'm not here to judge her. I'm not here to judge her choices within her relationship. I really believe that, nobody can tell you what's right for you in your relationship. We are going to do what we think is the right thing in that moment. And hopefully we learn from it eventually, but it's not my place to judge anybody for the decisions that they make in their relationship. There have been a lot of rumors lately about whether or not Cardi is pregnant with her first child. Uh, this is with her now fiance Offset, from Migos. So this Friday past, she released her new album, Invasion of Privacy, which I haven't heard yet, but it is on my list of shit to do this weekend. And so the album has gotten lots of great reviews all across the internet. So I'm really looking forward to checking it out. So she released the album on Friday, and then Saturday night she confirmed that she is in fact with child. She did this during her performance on Saturday Night Live with the host, whose host this week was Chadwick Boseman, aka Black Panther. Which, sidebar, did you see that Black Jeopardy skit? Oh my God. Okay, I was weak. It was so good. And I haven't watched the whole episode yet, but I'm definitely going to. Y'all know I don't really get to watch a lot of television because I'm always working, but that is two on my list of shit to do this weekend. Okay. Anyway, apparently, some folks had some real negative things to say about the pregnancy, implying that basically it's not good timing and that she's ruining her life by keeping this baby. Like being like at this point in her career, it's not the right time for her to have a baby and that she's making bad decisions and this, that, and the third. Well, Cardi shut all that shit down during an interview that she did on Tuesday morning with the Breakfast Club. And basically, what she's saying is, y'all need to mind your own damn business and y'all need to let that girl live. And I must, admit, I agree with her. She's 25 years old. She's financially stable. She's in a committed relationship, at least, on her part. You know what I'm saying? And, she's happy. For all intents and purposes, she is happy. And so let that lady live. Let her do her thing and live her life the way that she wants to live her life. So, high five to Cardi B for the pregnancy. High five to Cardi B on the success of her new album. And really, high five Cardi B for standing up for yourself, and for standing up for your choices and for your life. Okay? High five, girl. High five. The second high five for this week goes to Sybrina Fulton. So we all know Sybrina Fulton as the mother of Trayvon Martin. His death sparked the movement that is the Black Lives Matter campaign and really brought into our collective consciousness the reality that America has not made as much progress as it relates to race in our judicial system as some would like for us to believe. So anyway, according to Blavity.com, Sybrina Fulton is the mother of Trayvon Martin and has been committed to social justice advocacy and ending gun violence since Trayvon was tragically killed in 2012. So she is the founder of the Trayvon Martin Foundation, which is an organization that's dedicated to fighting gun violence, strengthening families, and advocating for youth and the STEM education for minorities and women, among other advocacy efforts. As a part of the Trayvon Martin Foundation, Fulton also established the Circle of Mothers, which is an effort to empower and support mothers who have lost their children, especially to gun violence. And the Circle of Mothers is going to host a retreat in May from the 18th to the 20th next month. So anyway, she also co-authored a book with Trayvon's father, Tracy Martin, that's titled Rest in Power, The Enduring Life of Trayvon Martin. So this woman is amazing, and she's strong, and she's a powerful woman who really allowed the world to mourn with her, possibly at what was possibly her most vulnerable time, right? Processing and dealing with the death of her youngest child. And so now she is my soror. Yes. Sybrina Fulton has become an official card-carrying member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I am proud to call her soror. Apparently, over the weekend, she crossed the burning sands with the Miami alumni chapter, and I'm just really excited for her. And welcome to the sisterhood. I know that, I don't know, for me, and I think for most people who join Greek letter organizations, it is a lifelong dream. And so I don't know if it was a lifelong dream for her or not, but if it was, I'm glad that she's had an opportunity to accomplish this and to check this off her list. You know what I'm saying? So high five, soror, for standing up when it would have been completely understandable for you to break down. And welcome to the sisterhood, for sure. Welcome to the sisterhood. This week's reality check is hashtag So New Orleans. Okay. So let me just give y'all a disclaimer. Y'all know I'm from New Orleans, born and raised, and sometimes I have my moments. I am so New Orleans. All right. So this reality check is like really going to be very, very New Orleans. So I just need y'all to brace yourselves for that. Some of you I know are excited about that. But that's just what it is. All right. So Drake released a new song this week called Nice for What? And I am feeling very conflicted about it. The song is being touted as a bounce song, which is a style or like a genre of music that's almost exclusively found in New Orleans. It originated in New Orleans. We take our bounce music very seriously. And ever since Hurricane Katrina, bounce music has slowly found its way into the mainstream, primarily thanks to Big Frida, the queen of bounce. All right. So Frida specializes in a subgenre of bounce called sissy bounce, and she is indeed the queen diva. You best to believe her, girl down. Yes, yes. Okay. So anyway, I love me some Frida, y'all. If you had not noticed, and actually, Frida has a new single out called Rent, and so which she really, I think, with this new album, I feel like she really has evolved bounce music to the mainstream without losing those raw qualities that really make it bounce. And so there are some really basic requirements that have to be fulfilled in order for it to be a bounce song. And so I feel conflicted about this Drake song because it's not bounce music. It's bounce inspired, but it's not bounce. And I know that to just about anybody outside of New Orleans, this is not a big deal. But that's because bounce is a trend for you. For like a lot of people, they're just finding out about bounce music. And so like it's trendy and it's kind of like a fad for the rest of the country. But in New Orleans, bounce is life. Okay, it is ingrained in the culture. Listen, I went to a Catholic school growing up, Catholic school and Catholic church growing up, elementary and all of that. And so we used to plan dances in the school cafeteria, which is on the church grounds for the youth group. And never once was there a conversation about whether or not we would play bounce music. And the reason why that's significant is because bounce music is typically known for its vulgarity. Okay, it's just it ain't necessarily church going music. Okay, but it was just understood, right? It was just understood because that's how ingrained it is in our culture. As long as we found the clean version, like the radio version where they bleep out the real bad words, then everything was all good. That's how ingrained bounce music is into our culture. All right. Even though there's not really a clean way to say monkey on a stick, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. So Nice for What is not a bounce song, but it is like it's shaping the mainstream view of what bounce music is and what bounce music sounds like. And so it's really hard for me to get behind that because since Katrina, New Orleans has really been filled with gentrifiers and appropriators who are drawn to the city because of the culture, but they want to change it so dramatically that it's no longer New Orleans, right? It just kind of it rather like it becomes New Orleans inspired or a ghost of or a shell of its former self. All right. They did it to the Ninth Ward. They did it to Treme, the Garden District. They did it to Mardi Gras, y'all. Okay. They this is what they've done. Like they come in and they just change everything until to the point where New Orleanians don't even feel like we still have ownership of it. Okay. And so the conflict for me comes because I actually like the song. I do. I love the message. I don't mind the beat. I really don't. And I love the visuals, which the video was directed by Karina Evans, who is a 22-year-old Canadian born Black woman. Okay. Hashtag Black excellence. All right. She also directed his God's Plan video. And the video is beautiful. It features really some of the most influential women in Black pop culture right now, like women like Issa Rae, Tracy Ellis Ross, Tiffany Haddish, Yara Shahidi. So I'm conflicted because while I stand for the message, I am and will forever be hashtag so very New Orleans. All right. And at the end of the day, I'm tired of seeing my city get stripped of its cultural richness, really, so that outsiders can get paid off of it and make it whatever they think it should be. So I'm not necessarily really trying to make a point right now. More like kind of just venting. Reality check. Not all change is good. Not all change is fair. And not all change is wanted. Leave my bounce music alone. Girl down. All right. All right. So I do have a few shout outs today. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Black Mary Fly podcast. Hey, y'all. Hey, Candace. Hey, Treb. Definitely want to give a shout out to Jaden over at Unapologetic Podcast, Unapologetic with a K. Listen, Jaden got my whole life together, y'all. Helped me out with my situation and things like that. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite people. So, shout out to Jaden over there. I want to give a shout out to Friend Zone, the Friend Zone podcast. I really love this podcast, y'all. Like, it really resonates with me in a lot of ways, and it inspires me as a podcaster, but then also as a clinician. It really inspires me, and as a healer. And so shout out to the Friend Zone podcast. Shout out to the Budget Nista. She was a guest on their show last week, and I've been following the Budget Nista for a couple years now, at least a year, maybe 2 years now. And so I was already familiar with her, but I just love her so much, and I love her message, and she inspires me as a businesswoman. And so shout out to the Budget Nista. If you need some financial information, or from financial literacy information, go on and check her out. And then my very, very special shout out today goes to my chocolate thunder, my homie. That's my best friend. Go best friend. That's my best friend. Dalton. Hey, Dalton. Hey, Boo. So I just wanted to give Dalton a really special shout out because we was talking the other day and he was like, "You'll never give me a shout out on your show." And so I said, "You know what, Boo? I'm going to give you a shout out this week because, our relationship really has grown over the last year or so. And I'm really thankful for that. I had my last best friend kind of situation was not a great situation, and it did not end well at all. And so I think that there was a part of me that really just kind of was like, you know what, fuck this best friend bullshit. I don't really need no best friend, that's just really the place that I was in. And so I've been very, very cautious over the last 4 or 5 years since that happened, to just like, I don't need no best friend. Like, I'm not really getting into that. But he has always shown up for me. He's always been there for me when I needed somebody to be there. And I told him like a couple weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I think you're my best friend, And so he was like, bitch, you're just realizing that. So I love me some Dalton, my little chocolate thunder. And, shout out to you, my honey bun. I know you're listening. And so if you know my boo and you see him on the street, then tell him, hey, or whatever. All right. Okay, so as far as that's it for shout outs. And then finally, let's see, I do have a few announcements. Join me over on Trust Village, which is my closed Facebook group. It is growing as usual, and it really is a safe place for healing and manifestation. And so, hey to my Trust Village ladies, I really am falling in love with the direction that the group is taking. It really is a place where women are feeling comfortable with sharing and being vulnerable. Black women are supporting each other and loving on each other, and just having a place to be unapologetic, and to just kind of be vulnerable. And so I love seeing it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm very honored to be able to participate in it. All right. And then also, my blog, The Black Unicorn Project, is up and running. We actually have two new posts, two new blog articles that have posted. One posted last week and one actually posted today. And so make sure you check out the blackunicornproject.com and check that out. And actually, I'm going to be doing an interview real soon with the other Black Unicorn. And so that's going to be a very special episode. And so with Becca Zila over at the Black Unicorn Literacy Program in Philadelphia. So it's not the same program, but it does have the same general focus. And so I'm really excited to be able to finally talk to her, and because we've been kind of getting confused for each other for a while now. And so I'm excited about that. That's going to be coming up in a couple weeks. And then for the last several months, you all have heard me talk about the Empower Your Vision Masterclass. So many of you have asked when you're going to get a chance to participate, and now is your time. I was planning on charging, originally I was going to charge $67 for the program because honestly, I felt like I had to in order to be like a quote unquote good businesswoman. But the reality is that I really didn't want to charge for the program. I truly believe that this is basic foundational information that everybody should have, but unfortunately, many of us never really get access to it because of, life or whatever, right? So I have made the decision that the Empower Your Vision Masterclass will be forever free. Okay. It is my signature program and it is amazing. I am so proud of this program. And so I'm one of those people, like, I love the work that I do so much that I literally would do it for free. Like, even if I didn't get paid to do it, I would still do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I really believe and I know that this is my purpose in life. And so now there is no reason for you to not come and get this information or get the information that you need in order to really jumpstart your journey and make it happen. The masterclass is a 5-week intensive that's designed to kickstart your journey toward healing and manifestation. It is a self-guided course that includes 5 pre-recorded modules and over 15 free worksheets on topics like forgiveness of self and others, building a strong support network, getting clear about the mission and vision for your life, and overcoming blocks and obstacles. And so it also includes a free weekly live Q&A inside of a secret Empower Your Vision Masterclass Facebook group, which is separate from Trust Village. Okay, because not everybody that's in Trust Village it has or is participating in the Empower Your Vision Masterclass. And so the Masterclass space is really where you'll be able to interact with me in a smaller group setting. And it'll be live every single week, every Monday it is. And you will be able to do check-ins because it's important for me to know how you're doing as you go through this process, and to be able to ask any questions that you might have about implementation. I really will be holding your hand through the entire course, right? But you get to move through it at your own pace. So if you really are ready to get your life on track and move toward manifesting your dreams, head on over to the website latricesampsonrichards.com/empower your vision to get your spot. That is EmpowHER your vision to get more information and to start your journey today. All right? Okay. As usual, make sure that you follow me, follow the show on all social medias. Unicorns Talk Podcast is at Unicorns Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The website where you can listen on the web, or you can find links to everywhere that the show is available is latricesampsonrichards.com/Unicorns Talk Pod. You can check me out on Facebook and Instagram at Latrice Sampson Richards, on Twitter at LSamRichards. And that's it. That's it. Make sure you like, rate, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Let me know how things are going. Let me know, take a picture when you're doing your homework. Let me know how that goes for you. Give me some feedback, talk to me. This is a conversation. So talk to me and let me know how things are going for you. All right. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.